Hello. Looks like no student has joined. I have to wait for them.
Okay, sir. Okay.
Kunal, turn on your camera. You're coming back to the lab, huh?
Yes, sir. Yes, I am coming back
Okay.
to the lab.
Then turn off your camera until you come to the
Yes.
lab.
A few moments later. Hello, sir.
Yes, Shyam
Uh,
Prasad.
Sir, students are waiting in YouTube, sir. Some students are watching YouTube.
YouTube. Okay.
YouTube.
Let
So I
me
think you
join.
can start. Yeah, you can
So
start,
should
sir.
I log out from here and join in
No,
YouTube or
no need.
stay?
No need. You just speak with the Zoom, one, sir. The students also hear from there.
But I am not able to see them. Hello? I am not able to see any of them. One second.
You can explain, sir. Actually,
No, what can I explain? They should ask me questions and then I can explain.
okay.
Just 1 minute. Let me go to that. Let me see if I can live stream on the YouTube link.
Yeah.
I can see some people. But is this supposed to be an interactive session or they are? I have to just talk to them one way.
Students, maybe students ask the question, you can answer, sir. Otherwise,
Yes,
otherwise
but
you
in
can.
YouTube, I have logged in YouTube also.
Uh, so I'll put the chat in YouTube also, sir. If any students, anyone want to ask the question, please put the chat. Okay.
Okay, I'll
Ah,
do that.
okay.
Just open the live chat.
Yeah. Live is enabled, sir. Already. Chat is enabled.
Wait. Okay. Now the multiple recording is a problem. Okay, tell me, Shyam Kumar, can you do what is it? They should type in the chat window, huh?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me type in the chat window. Let me see if that will come there.
Yeah.
Students. Hello.
Yeah. Yes, sir.
No. Yes, I can see something in the chat window. Prajwal. Yeah, I'm chatting in the chat window. Kunal, you can join all also. CPV form. Munal, join in the YouTube video also. I think that was also shared with you. You can see the doubts as I type them. Sumit, okay. Sumit, uh, so briefly, the course contents were to give you an idea of the motivation for cardiovascular mechanics, which is that cardiovascular diseases are the leading cause of mortality. Then to run you through the structure function relationships. I mean, before you run through the structure function relationships, there was a question on what are the definitions? What is the structural organization of life in the body, of the organ systems, then the organs, then the tissues, then the cells? Okay. Then that structure being defined, then went into how the structure and function will interact in in a human being. So I gave various examples of structure function relationships in the cardiovascular system, in the digestive system, in the respiratory system. Okay. And then I told you about the treatments for cardiovascular diseases, where the subject of mechanics is useful for understanding the treatment. Okay, so that was the first uh, uh, course overview. Okay, then I went into an overview of continuum mechanics. There I told what is the body, and inside the body you have a material. So I said what is the definition of mass, volume, and I related mass and volume by means of density. Okay, and once I related mass and volume by means of density, density I defined as a field variable which allows for the properties to be defined at every point inside the continuum. Then I told you what is a motion, what is a deformation gradient, and then the measures of strain in which use the deformation gradient. That is half of I minus B inverse and half of C minus I, where C is F transpose F and B is FF transpose. Okay, and then I also told you what is the L, the velocity gradient tensor, and I also defined what is the shear rate tensor or the stretching tensor, which is D, which is the symmetric part of the velocity gradient. Okay. Then once I defined what is the velocity gradient, I said, see, you have found measures for what is the deformation inside the body and the rate of deformation inside a body. Now, how do you, each material is characterized by a unique relationship between the Cauchy stress and the strain, which is called a constitutive model, which I defined for solids and for fluids. And then for fluids, I said there is a extra layer above the Newtonian fluids, which is T equal to minus Pi plus 2 mu D. That is the Navier-Stokes fluid. Over and above that, we look at viscoelastic models. Okay, so I gave you an example of Maxwell model, Oldroyd B model. What are the frame invariant derivatives of D, and how the stress is related to the shear rate in a Maxwell model and in an Oldroyd B model. Okay, that was week 1 of the lectures. Then week 2 was the anatomy and physiology of the heart. In anatomy, I said that there are 3 levels of organization of the structure in the heart, which is the chambers, then the valves, and then I think one more, which is that it is a I have to remember what that was, which was I think it was the vessel wall layers. Okay, and I told you what is the functioning of a heart through the cardiac cycle. That is very important to know. So please go over the lecture on cardiac cycle, which will tell you how the heart pumps and pushes blood out into the systemic circuit and the pulmonary circuit. Okay. And then we went into the mechanics of the heart. That was the second lecture in week 2. Okay. So, yeah, 1 second. Okay. So once in the second week, I told about what are the various mechanical models of the heart. Okay. I told you about that we select a non-linear elastic framework instead of a viscoelastic framework, which will be very complex. And with a non-linear elastic framework, we will do some I gave you an example. What is a neo-Hookean material and what is a Mooney-Rivlin material? Okay. And then I told you that the stored energy function is very useful, that the general form of a stress in elastic material is T equal to minus Pi plus 2F dou W by dou C F transpose. Okay. And then I told you with different stored energy functions for different muscles in the heart layer, the endocardium, the epicardium, and for the myocardium. Okay, so that was week 2, lecture 2, and so I think it is called the lecture 6 or something in the lectures. Then I went on to blood. I repeated the same process. What is the anatomy of blood? Meaning, what is its composition? What are the formed elements? What are the what is the plasma? What does it consist of? What is the rheology of blood formed elements? What is the rheology of the plasma? What is the rheology of the whole? Which is that it is a shear thinning fluid. Okay, it is a shear thinning viscoelastic fluid with viscoelasticity dependent on shear rate. Okay, then I went into different models for blood. Here you need some understanding of fluid mechanics. Okay, so I said that there are the earliest model is the Casson model, which is more based on a yield stress approach. Okay, and then I said the cross model was the earliest shear thinning model. Then I gave you the example of Thurston's 1D spring dashpot models for viscoelastic liquids. Okay, then I said what all this is 1D is fine, but when you start to simulate blood flow in complex geometries, you need 3D models. So for 3D models, I taught about what is the Oldroyd B model. What is the first model that came, which is the Oldroyd B model due to Phillips and Deutsch. Then the next model was the Elaswarupu model. Then the next model was the Anand Rajagopal 2004 model. Then I said there is a Anand Rajagopal, Anand et al. 2013 model, both of which are generalized Oldroyd B models. And then I ended with that and went into mixture theory model. So mixture theory model, the model of Wu et al. Then again, the same pattern in vasculature, which is what is the anatomy of the vasculature, the arteries, the arterioles, the capillaries, the venules, and the veins. And then what is the different classes of arteries. I made it very clear that uh, the elastic arteries are from 25 to 10 mm. Okay, then from 10 mm to 0.6 mm is the muscular arteries. Then when it comes to arterioles, it is 0.6 mm to few microns. Okay, there I said that the continuum approximation for blood will no longer hold, and you cannot use the principles of continuum mechanics in arterioles, and only you can use it in muscular arteries and elastic arteries. Then I gave some examples of models for carotid artery, coronary artery, different stored energy functions. This is the overview of the course. Does that answer your question, Sumed? Shashank has asked a very good question. Sumed, I'm waiting for you to answer. Yes, Sumed, I have given the brief. Shashank, are you a student? Shashank, I'm waiting for an answer from you. Can you please clarify you're registered in the course and not just someone who caught me on live chat.
So there is a lag between 30 seconds of lag between you are live streaming and it is broadcasting in the YouTube. So that's why maybe it's taking a little bit time.
Shashank, I need an answer from you. So I will just say to answer the question, it will come in the YouTube video. Shashank has asked a question: how does the blood cardiovascular system maintain stable blood pressure and organ perfusion during a sudden massive shift in posture or acute hemorrhage? I'll not answer acute hemorrhage, but I will say during sudden massive shift in posture. Okay, so sudden the it does it by coordinating with the nervous system. Okay, and when there is a need for blood, like for example, hmm, these terms, Jagdeep, these terms are out of my uh, uh, scope. Preload, afterload, and myocardial contractility in determining cardiac output. So during the massive shift in posture, the uh, the flow to the various organs gets adjusted and by connecting with the messages from the brain, and thereby the required blood pressure is maintained in those circuits during that time. Okay. Now, Jaydeep, are you a student or you are just someone using AI and asking me questions? He's asking, see, Shyam Prasad, look at some of, we have no control on who logs in into the chat window, right?
Okay, sure.
Virender, I will answer that question for you. Okay. The scenario that matches the cardiovascular mechanics with mathematical indulgence into it, mechanics itself is a mathematical subject. Okay. So, for example, when you want to detect blood flow in a complex geometry, or you want to detect blood flow when the arteries are pulsating, or when the blood heart is pumping, how the blood flow, what is the flow patterns inside the heart. In those scenarios, cardiovascular mechanics allows mathematical indulgence. I hope I answered your question, Virender. Shyam Prasad. Shyam Prasad.
Yeah, yes, sir. Tell me.
Can we stop the session now? Because many of these are just random people who are browsing the internet and coming into the chat window.
Yeah, okay, sir. We can stop, sir.
Yeah, I think, I think I've answered all the questions that are there. I
Okay,
think
sir.
whoever is willing to come would have come by now. So let us stop it now,
Okay,
and
sir.
that's fine. I think maybe one or two genuine questions were there, which I
Yeah.
answered.
Okay, sir. Okay, I'll stop, sir.
You can stop now. Okay,
Okay, sir. Thank you,
Kunal.
sir.
Yeah, you can close the session now. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay, Kunal, come to my room 1 minute.